The theme of our project is Sysert, my native land, traveling through time. Sysert is our hometown. To my mind, it's like an open museum, the historical center of the town. Being here, you seem to get the Russia of the 18th, 19th centuries, together with the walking people you walk, by the one of the best views plants of the time. You are amazed by the beauty of palace of Alexei Turchaninov with a botanical garden, antique sculptures and fountains. You admire the greatness of the temple, which was visited by Emperor Alexander I. The history of Sysert is the history of the Urals, the history of the whole Russia. We must know it to become patriots of our motherland, to understand the prospects for the development of our native land.
The aim of the project is to study the literature about our town in different historical periods, as well as about its famous people and wonderful attractions. During our work, we visited the local history museum and many other interesting places of Sysert. We also had a virtual excursion, which was given to the students of our school by a well-known guide and local historian of Sysert, Alexander Savichev. We published the most interesting information from our project in our school English magazine. We did that in order to popularize our native town not only in Russia but abroad too. Sysert is very interesting and beautiful. It's worth visiting it. We'll tell you about some pages from the history of Sysert.
The history of Sysert, Imperial era. In 1732, the first buildings of a plant appeared and the history of the Sysert region began. The first owner of the plant was the state. However, the new plant produced less product than the officials of the mining department expected. Alexei Fedorovich Turchaninov became the new owner of the Sysert plant. In 1753, the Sysert factories, with all the forests, lakes, mines, buildings, and artisans were sold to him. Sysert was originally planned and built by Alexei Turchaninov. For 30 years, he did a lot for Sysert and its residents. People were given free timber, poles, firewood, mowing. Once a year, the workers had a month's vacation with family support. Medicines, medical care, and schooling were free, and all that was in the 18th century. Sysert was a very rich town at that time. Under Turchaninov, a zoo, a winter botanical garden, mineralogical museum, archaeological museum, and a scientific library appeared. During that time, Sysert factories were among the best in the Urals. The mining of malachite was started. At the beginning of the 19th century, Sysert metallurgical factory was one of the largest enterprises in the Urals. Sysert was known as the administrative center of the rich mountain district. At various exhibitions, the factory received many awards for the excellent quality for its product, on which the brand, the image of a heron, was put. Now we can see a heron on the coat of arms of Sysert.
During the Great Patriotic War, Sysert contributed a lot to the defeat of fascism. More than 13,000 residents of Sysert district went to the front. 5,000 of them didn't return home. They fought for our motherland and fell on the battlefield. We remember them, we are proud of them. At the beginning of the war, the main enterprise of Sysert, mechanical plant, was rebuilt in a military way. It produced military products, shells of air bombs, mortar mines, shell casings, army knives. Women, old people, and children walk 7 days a week right in the open air.
School children also did not stand aside. They collected scrap metal, they worked in collective farms for weeding and harvesting vegetables, gathered mushrooms and picked berries and medicine plants in the forest. During the war, children helped adults build a factory railway. It was in the winter of 1942. Children got up early in the morning, they made a fire in the spot and went to school for lessons. After classes, they worked a lot, dug the earth and made a mound. For that work, they were given extra 200 grams of bread.
One of the streets in the northern village of Sysert is named after Petr Filipovich Shkov. Our compatriot Petr Filipovich Shkov is a veteran of the Great Patriotic War. He was born September 25, 1925 in Sysert. This year he is 95. In 1942, Petr Filipovich was sent front. In July 1943, he took part in the Kursk battles. Petr Filipovich participated in the liberation of the Baltic states, Poland, Belarus, Denmark, Germany, and other countries. He was awarded 2 medals for courage and many other medals.
Sysert is the birthplace of the famous Russian writer Pavel Petrovich Bajov. He was born on January 27, 1879. In the family of Agnes Stepanovna and Peter Vasilievich Bajov. His father worked in the Sysert factory. His mother was a good lace maker. The future writer spent his childhood in Sysert, and his childhood impressions were the most vivid and important for him. Bajov returned to Sysert many times as an adult. There he worked on creating fairy tales, collected folklore materials, talked to old people, and recorded their memoirs. Pavel Petrovich became famous for such unique fairy tales as Silver Hoof, Melancholy Box, Mystery of the Copper Mountain, and many others. His tales attract not only children, but adults too. Bajov had a great command of the Russian language. His tales have a lot of sayings, turn of speech of the time.
We see his heroes in the monuments of our hometown, the mistress of the Copper Mountain, with beautiful woman with green eyes, dressed in a luxurious malachite dress, wearing the form Elizabeth with a crown. In 2007, a sculpture of Elizabeth appeared in the city square in the center of Sysert, as if the mistress of the Copper Mountain herself is closely following the life of the city. Not far from the central, we can see one of the main symbols of Bajov's fairy tales, the stone flower. Unusual stone flowers adorn walls of the multi-story residential buildings that were built in 1988.
The largest collection of heroes of Pavel Bajov's fairy tales is located at the foot of Mount Bessonova, in the historical center of Sysert. In 2014, the first sculpture appeared, Silver Hoof. He stamps his silver hoof and colored precious stones, like sparks, jump out from it. Next to the sculpture of Silver Hoof, there is a sculpture of Sinushka from the fairy tale Sinushkin Well. She is the guardian of the land wealth. In the natural park Bajov places, there is a golden snake. It appeared in 2012 and looks out of the ground along one of the paths. This is one of the forest characters of the tales of Bajov, a giant snake man, a magical creature. All these fantastic characters represent the elemental forces of nature, which give their secrets only to the brave, hard-working, and kind people.
I live in Sysert. It is a small town not far from Yekaterinburg. Sysert is a beautiful town with charming natural attractions. I like to spend my free time in Bajovsky Places Park. It is the main attraction of Sysert, an open-air museum that has preserved amazingly charming natural monuments. The Urals mountains in these places are rich in deposits of iron, copper, marble, gold, and gems. There are many slender sheep pines, larches, and birches in the forest. Elks, roe deer, wild boars, foxes, lynxes, singing birds, fluttering butterflies, and ponds and rivers with bream, perch, and pike. And so many berry and mushroom places are here.
From a bird's eye view, the lake was the shape of heart. I often walk there with my friends or family. On hot summer days, we often swim in the lake. In autumn, we gather mushrooms in the neighbor forest. In winter, we drive a snowmobile and go skiing. Chalk of stone is always beautiful, in all the seasons and in any weather. Mark of Stone Mound is well known from Zhov's tale. The others say that the mound was named after the story of Mark Beregovic, who escaped from cruel persecution with all his family to the place. The task of generation is to protect and enhance all the natural beauty so that our descendants can see and admire it.
Области is a project improvement of the embankment in Sysert, among the all-Russia contest among the small towns and historical settlements. The cost of the project is 150 million rubles. 70 million is a federal grant. The goal of the project is preservation of monuments of industrial heritage, stimulation of the creative economy through the creation of clusters and the production of creative industries, and as a result, the development of the territories surrounding such objects. It is planned that near the pond there will be a big park, a super-modern co-working space, a restaurant, and tourist services. I like visiting the embankment in our town. There are many beautiful places and monuments there. The old building of the Sysert plant, which is a monument of a federal significance. The Church of Simeon and Anna, one of the biggest and most beautiful Orthodox churches in Russia. A monument to Pavel Petrovich Bajov, a famous Russian writer, and others. I believe that in the future the embankment will become a very interesting place for all residents of Sysert. It will decorate our city and make it even more attractive. Children will have a new place to play, and adults will be able to relax and enjoy nature. I suppose that thanks to the development of the embankment, more tourists will come to Sysert. Many people will learn about our small but very beautiful town. Our residents will be given additional new jobs.
Now, the reconstruction of the embankment is in progress. What will we see next year? Firstly, it will be a convenience for common people. Everyone will be able to walk there. I think the conditions will be wonderful. A lot of trees, very smooth walkways, and something for relaxing, like benches. And of course, the most important thing, in my opinion, is that there will be no cars, so the air will be clear and fresh, as it was many years ago. To my mind, it will be a cozy and beautiful place. Secondly, it's our history. A plant museum will appear in Sysert. It's being created on the initiative of the local historian Alexander Savichev. The museum will be dedicated to the history of the Sysert plant from the 18th century to the present day. The exposition of the museum is about 110 square meters. It will include unique exhibits shared by local residents. Something like this will happen with other objects of our historical center. They will be modernized. It's our past. Our grandparents worked there. In my case, my grandmother worked there for 20 years. We must keep it safe. In conclusion, I would like to say that it's a very good project which will add something atmospheric to Sysert. I think that it's not just a modernization, it's a new life for our town and for us.